Well, one morning I woke up in February and I was crying because I was sick. And I was too sick to get up, and I was too sick to go back to sleep. And I just felt ugly. I didn't have hair, and I didn't have eyebrows and eyelashes, and I was pale and puffy. So I just laid there and cried. And Mark was getting dressed, getting ready for work. And he came over and sat on the side of the bed and hugged me. And then he said, "Kelly, I want you to get up and come over to the window with me." The last thing I wanted to do was get out of bed and go look out the silly window. But I did. I followed Mark to the window, sobbing, and he pointed out the window at this big tree we have in our front yard. And this is in February. And he said, "Kelly, look at that tree. It looks dead, doesn't it?" Well, it's not. It's going to have beautiful blooms in the spring. And then he took my chin and he pulled my face to his and he said, "And so are you." Oh, you don't know how many days I stared out the window waiting for that tree to bloom when I was sick this winter. And I want to share with you, it's spring, it's actually summer now, and I want to share my blooms because I'm blooming. These are my blooms. So I'm coming back. Mark was right. You all prayed for me, and God answered by pouring out his love for me through so many people. My neighbors, my girlfriends in the neighborhood threw an We Love Kelly party after I got sick, and they showered me with love and gifts, and they helped me make this scrapbook. They all pitched in and bought supplies and gave me some scrapbooking gifts. That was so neat. And we had Race for the Cure in October, which is a big breast cancer walk that they have in every major city. And we had 150 people that came to walk for Kelly at the breast cancer walk, including my family and my grandpa and my brother. It was amazing. So God has been there with me every step of the way, encouraging me through so many people. I wanted to let you know that my husband is in a motorcycle gang. I don't know if you know that. It's actually our church motorcycle club. They call themselves the Hope's Angels. And it's with couples that we know. I don't ride the motorcycle, but Mark does. When I got sick, they wanted to show their support for me and surprise me and make some noise for Kelly. One evening in July, we were having dinner and the windows were open and we heard this noise grow louder and louder. And we looked out the window and all these motorcycles came down the street and they pulled up in our driveway and on the front lawn. And it was so neat. The neighbors were even coming outside wondering what all the noise was about. And they got off their motorcycles, and a good friend of ours, Bill, who's kind of the leader of the group, he had a big cross in his hand, and it was a ceramic cross on a big yardstake. And he held it up high, and he said, "Faith lives here, and where there is faith, there is no room for fear." And he slammed the stake in the ground. And then he said, "May the devil be horrified, and God be glorified." And everybody cheered, and then we cried and hugged, and it was really neat. And that cross is there today, and that cross is going to be there in front of our door forever. You know, it's amazing how God's plan is falling into place for Mark and I. We're both going to live our dreams after this cancer. Mark has always had two passions: medicine and financial planning. He's always worked in medicine and done financial planning on the side for years and years. For 20 years, he's been helping other people with that, and he'll stay up until wee hours of the morning researching investments, and I get mad at him because he stays up too late. Well, he took a leap of faith a couple years ago and started his own financial planning business, and he teaches at some medical schools on the side now. But he's passionate about that, and he's loving it, and he's living his dream. And as for me, I quit my job last week. I'm staying home. I'm going to slow down and focus on my family. I had a sobering appointment yesterday with my radiologist. I have a 70% chance to make it through the next 5 years. I'm going to really soak up my family as much as I can and those that I love. The blessing with how everything's working out is with Mark's business, he meets people all over Iowa, so whenever he comes this way, I'm not working anymore, and I'm going to come home and visit my family and the community that I care so much about. So I'm really excited about that. It's just really neat that how God's plan unfolds and how everything's working out for us. We're so grateful. In closing, I just want to talk to you again about why I'm up here, and it's to glorify God. It's our job to make heaven a really crowded place, and I know He wants to bless us while we're here, but ultimately, it's our job to glorify Him and help other people find their way to heaven. We should use whatever gifts or whatever circumstances we have, good or bad, to point people in that direction. I'm not up here because this is easy for me. I'm terrified of being in front of people, and I have no experience public speaking. I'm a number cruncher, kind of a math geek. In fact, Mom, do you remember my first semester in college when I took calculus? I called home all excited because I figured out the formula to find the volume of a donut. And I also know I have the voice of a 10-year-old. When people call our home and when I answer the phone, they ask if my mother's home. But look how God can use me to get up in front of people and to get His message across. And look how He can reach people through a horrible disease called cancer. And think what He can do through you. Doesn't really matter what package or skills you have. And when I talk about I'm up here to glorify God, I thought I always understood the glory thing. But the light bulb really went on when I read a book a friend lent to me while I was sick a few months ago. It's called It's Not About Me by Max Lucado. But it talked about how we exist to show God's glory. God created the heavens and the earth to show His glory. He created everything to show His glory. Doesn't that seem kind of self-centered? I mean, why does God do all that self-promotion? And why is it so important to glorify Him? Well, this book had a great analogy that really stuck with me. Imagine that it's dark out, and you're drowning in a dark, cold sea, and off in the distance you hear the voice of a pilot of a lifeboat. What do you want that pilot to do? Because you're drowning. Do you want him to be quiet? No, you want him to shout, "Here I am, I can save you, I am strong." In other words, you want the pilot to show His glory. That's when I finally got it. God doesn't declare His glory for Him, it's for us. So we can be rescued. And that's why I'm up here. And there's a favorite verse that was listed with this story that I just love. It's Psalm 50:15. Trust me in your times of trouble, and I will rescue you, and you will give me glory. I trusted Him, and He rescued me, and now it's my job to give Him glory. His peace is real, His strength is real, that lifeboat is real. God turned my cancer into something beautiful, and He can do this for you no matter what you're going through. Remember to glorify Him no matter what your circumstances, because you'll be blessed and so will others. It's our job to help others find that lifeboat and to make heaven a really crowded place. Thank you again for praying for me. God bless you. And Sarah's going to close in prayer. Sarah, come up here. She wrote a little prayer to close it.
Dear God, thank you for all the prayers of these nice people. Thank you for making my mom better. Help us all to make heaven really crowded someday. I love you, Jesus. Amen.